My split top French joiner's bench, 3 years in. What would I change? What do I really like? Well, it's a great help. The thing's worth an apprentice for sure. I use the tail vise more than anything. It works wonderfully. But with that piece of black walnut that I put on the face, that actually puts it a little bit too far in the bench, and I have to lean over too far. So the tail vise needs to be kept as close to the front of the bench as possible. The leg vise, I'm just an apprentice joiner. I do more assembly and building odd things than actual joinery work on this. So the leg vise, I don't really use it. So as cool as it is, I would definitely have a Moxon vise there instead. The bench does a lot of things well, but it doesn't have anything that'll hold small parts, so you have to have a Moxon vise anyway if you're going to assemble stuff, so you might as well have something useful down there, and that's what I would put on that end. But I really like the mass of the bench. It has 5-inch deep tops, and with those deeper tops, the hold down holes, they have to be counterbored from the bottom, or the hold down won't get crooked enough to get a bite. So I would put more hold down holes in it and counterbore more of the ones that are in it now. I don't have enough of them done. But the mass of the bench is a big thing. And the way that it was actually built, a lot of these are built with just legs, stringers, and they're mortised into the tops. So it's all one big bench. And I couldn't do that because you can't move them. So this one actually has a stringer top and bottom that are blind split wedge mortise and tenon. And the stretchers on the sides, they're through split wedge mortise and tenon. There's not a screw in this thing. It's all these are cross doweled. But that rigid frame makes it where you can just build 2 tops that are just setting on the frame. So 4 screws, 4 big lag screws, those tops come off and they can move them, take the job box out and move the frame, and you can actually move this thing around. So the frame is a big deal. 5 by legs, 5 by stringers, 4.5 stretchers. So the mass of the bench is really, I'm glad that I built it this big. It does not waste a bit of your effort. Everything that you put into the work goes into it. The bench doesn't move. Let's see, I like the sharpening station there on the end. You got to bend down just a little bit, and I can lock my elbows and keep my angles good. I like to keep my drills handy, so they're right there on the end of the bench. You pull that lever over and it'll stand this bench on 4 casters, and you can push it around. That's pretty good considering it weighs over 600 pounds with this old job box in it that's full of my favorite tools. So I don't wear bibs, I don't wear bags. All the stuff I use is there, and the stuff that's in your pockets is up here on this cool tool stand that I built. And yeah, that's pretty neat, huh? Yep, but back to the bench. I would change those vices. I like having, I got all my clamps and Allen wrenches in there that I actually use here, and double handy that it's right there at the bench. Let's see, what else would I change? I think that's about it. It really is a super helpful thing. It's amazing how I do things differently now that I have this. So it'll hold the world down, and they're definitely worth building. So that's my split top French joiner's bench. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the tool well. That is actually handy. Moving stuff around, you can drop it down in there and get it below the surface so you can slide your work around. You can see I've got my long rules in there, and that tool well drops right out, and you can over clamp either side of those tops. So That tool wheel is actually a handy thing when you're clamping down a big, difficult to clamp project that's odd angled. But yeah, I use that bench hook a lot, and I don't know what else. The tail vise is most useful. The moccasin vise is second most. It looks cool up there on the wall. It looks even cooler on the bench. I'll get it down. 2 big chunks of oak with another one for a support, faced with some curly maple. Just fits in the slot. Tighten the tail vise down on it, and it's solid as a rock. Quick release, pull those, and obviously I don't have 3 hands, but that's the quick release, comes out, and yeah, the most useful thing on the bench. I'm so glad I built this moccasin vise. It works like a charm, but yeah, turned out really nice. I had to use some screws in that. I hate using screws. I use dowels and wooden pins. But yep, that is one of the most useful things in the shop. And it makes this bench complete. So there you go.